What's up, Miami Heat Nation? It's your boy Ernest here, back with another Miami Heat Talk video. Super excited, guys, because today's Saturday. It's family day, and it's also time for another Miami Heat Talk adventure. So I'm definitely excited about that, you guys. So sit back, relax. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Before we get there, you guys know the drill. We got to do this in every video. Take a moment. Click the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, you guys. We are getting very close to this Damian Lillard trade, so you want to make sure that you're catching every single video that I'm posting, especially now. Why? Guys, we're almost 2 weeks away from training camp. There's been a lot of inclinations, rumors, little hints on this trade for Damian Lillard to the Miami Heat should be happening sooner rather than later. Now, there's a few things that I want to discuss. Now, I know probably the main reason why you clicked this video was because of the title about Joe Cronin and Damian Lillard. Before I get to that, one thing that I want to discuss yesterday on ESPN. ESPN's main inside NBA reporter, we all know him, Adrian Wojnarowski, known as Woj, was on ESPN yesterday talking about this Damian Lillard situation again. Now, before I comment on what I said, remember what I've said in the past. If you have reports about this Damian Lillard saga coming from guys like Shams Charania and Chris Haynes, it is coming directly from Damian Lillard's camp. If it comes from Adrian Wojnarowski, it is coming directly from the team. Why? Because Adrian Wojnarowski has deep ties with the Portland Trail Blazers. One of the assistant general managers is a close personal friend with Woj. So Woj gets all the updates from the Blazers so that when the moment the trade happens, Woj will be the first one to report it. That is the agreement that Woj has with these teams. He speaks on behalf of the teams in ESPN so they can give him the heads up and so he can be the first one to post it. That's the big thing about these reporters. It's about who's first. It's not about who's credible. It's not about who gets the correct information out. It's about who posts it first. That's what Woj wants. So we're clear with that. So on to what Woj said yesterday in ESPN. Woj broke down the fact that now the Portland Trail Blazers have been in talks with teams about a Damian Lillard trade. Now, I know a lot of people probably saw this and thought, okay, Miami's not the only suitor. Other people are talking to the Blazers about a Dame trade. No. If you really listen to the words that Woj said yesterday, what was the main thing that he was saying? The Portland Trail Blazers are in talks with a team to try to send out a veteran to a third team so they can make this Damian Lillard trade. You got to read the subtleties of the words that Woj is saying. Now, why does Woj come out here and say this? Well, because he's trying to drive up the price for a Damian Lillard trade. You want to try to do everything you can so that if another team comes out to make a trade offer for Dame. I've said it before. The NBA and the Portland Trail Blazers have tried everything in their power to get other teams to make a trade package for Dame Lillard. It has not worked. They've threatened in fining Damian Lillard and his camp for mentioning that he won't go to training camp for another team. Joe Cronin has basically put stop talks with the Miami Heat because he wants to see who else drives the value up. They've done everything that they can to drive up Damian Lillard's stock. No other team has made an offer. And it's because of what I've said in the past, you guys. Damian Lillard is at a point in his career that he wants to win, and he wants to win with a specific team, the Miami Heat. Now, this report by Woj is basically telling me another thing, too. The Blazers know that their backs are against the wall. It's time to make a trade. July and August was different. There was no pressure. The Blazers were just sitting back and waiting to see what came up. Nothing did. So here we are 2 weeks before training camp, and now the Blazers have to make a decision. Do they make the trade with the Miami Heat and get over all this drama? Or do they go to training camp with this disgruntled player and hope for the best? You don't want to do that. You want Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, and Shaedon Sharpe to evolve. You want them to have no fear in their mind, no hesitation in their thoughts. You want them thinking about basketball. And in order to do that, you got to get Damian Lillard out. Now, I get it. I've said it before. I respect what Joe Cronin is doing in a way. He's not pulling the trigger right away. He's sticking to his guns. I respect that. But at the end of the day, if there's no offers for Damian Lillard, if the Miami Heat's the only team making the offer, and Damian Lillard is asking to get out, and he's been with the organization for 12 years now, he's given them everything he possibly can. It's been promised to him that a championship contender would be built around him, or he would be traded. They have not been able to build a contender around him, you guys. Portland needs to do right by Damian Lillard. Now, that's the part that I'm getting to. So we're done with Woj. We know that Woj is basically an errand boy for the Blazers. He's gonna talk about whatever they want to drive up Damian Lillard's value. If you don't believe me, I have nothing to tell you. That's just the case. If you don't believe me, go back to all the videos that Woj talks about. Whatever Woj says, you guys, is very different from all of the other reporters that verify what Damian Lillard can't say. Adrian Wojnarowski does not talk about the side of Damian Lillard. He always talks about the side of the team. Read the subtleties. Now, moving forward, there was a podcast that came out. This is not a Miami Heat podcast. This is not an ESPN podcast. This is not an NBA podcast. Well, it is an NBA podcast, excuse me, but it's not like a generic NBA podcast. This is a Portland Trail Blazers podcast. It is called Blazers Uprise. I'm not trying to promote them here, but hey, if you want to take a moment, watch them. Great stuff. You got a reporter by the name of Eric Brandt on that. He seems to be very knowledgeable with the team. He does have insiders within the team that give him information on a daily basis, so he knows a lot what's going on within the Portland Trail Blazers organization. Now get ready for this, you guys, because they had a 2-hour podcast that came out. It was very long, but for your benefit, I sat and I watched pretty much the whole thing. It was reported by them, and it was also reported by Drew Starr on Twitter, who basically piggybacked what was talking with them. They did this long breakdown. They gave the real story between Damian Lillard and Joe Cronin, and I want to go over the highlights. Now, let's go all the way back to June. I'm not sure if you guys remember. I did post this and talked about this back in the end of June, but before Damian Lillard made this trade request, Damian Lillard had a meeting with Joe Cronin and the Portland Trail Blazers on June 26. I talked about it. There was nothing decided from the meeting. I remember all the reports came out that nothing was done. Bullshit. June 26, from the reports that I heard from Blazers Uprise and others confirming it, Damian Lillard made his trade request on June 26. He met with the Portland Trail Blazers because he was waiting prior to that to see what they were going to do with Scoot Henderson. He wanted them to trade the third pick to get him someone to help him win. Obviously, Blazers didn't do that. They drafted Scoot Henderson, another point guard. So for the Blazers fans who've been on my comments saying that Damian Lillard wants to mentor Scoot Henderson, that's just wrong. It's just wrong. Take Kyle Lowry and have him mentor Scoot Henderson. Kyle Lowry's on that stage of his career, not Damian Lillard. So anyways, because the Portland Trail Blazers did not trade Scoot Henderson, Damian Lillard requested a trade on June 26. So Joe Cronin asked Damian Lillard and his agent to please not mention anything about the trade request publicly, that he would find a trade suitor for Damian Lillard. Now let's go back even before that, to when Damian Lillard re-signed a contract extension, the 2-year, $120 million contract extension we've spoken about, which would pay Damian Lillard north of $60 million for his 35th and 36th year, which means he'll be 35, 36 years old. Excuse me. Why am I talking about all this? Well, because when that contract was signed, apparently from the Blazers Uprise report, Damian Lillard wanted to put a no-trade clause in his contract, similar to Bradley Beal. Blazers talked him out of it. Why? Because Joe Cronin basically told him, Joe Cronin's been with this team since 2006, so he has a relationship with Damian Lillard, and he told Damian Lillard, you don't need a trade request. You don't need a no-trade clause. I'm going to build a championship contender around you. I promise you I'm going to do that. And if I cannot, then I will trade you to the team that you choose. On June 26th, Damian Lillard requested a trade, and he gave the Portland Trail Blazers a list of teams on where he wants to go to. One of them was the Miami Heat, but he listed 2 other teams as well. I'm hearing it's the Brooklyn Nets. I don't know where the third team was, you guys. I've been trying to find it. All I've heard and all I've read was Miami and Brooklyn. I don't know what this third team is. Could have been the Lakers, could have been the Celtics, could have been the 76ers. It could have been one of those teams possibly. But the point was that Damian Lillard did give Joe Cronin a list of teams. Damian Lillard did tell Joe Cronin that I am flexible to going to a team besides the Miami Heat. Now, here's what happened. After that meeting on June 26th, there was 5 days between the 26th and July 1st when Damian Lillard requested his trade. What happened between those 5 days? I'll tell you. Within those 5 days, Joe Cronin not only contacted those 3 teams that Damian Lillard requested, he contacted every team in the NBA. He was doing a fire sale, ladies and gentlemen. He was calling the Thunder, the Spurs, the Magic, the Lakers, the Bucks. He was calling every team and saying, Damian Lillard's available. What is the best package you got? Here's what happened after that. When Joe Cronin was being a jackass, these teams that he contacted called Damian Lillard's agent, Aaron Goodwin, to tell him what was going on. Aaron Goodwin relayed that message to Damian Lillard, which pissed him the fuck off. He had an agreement with Joe Cronin to make a trade to 3 specific teams, and Joe Cronin lied and backstabbed him. Now, you can say what you want. You can side with Joe Cronin. You can side with the Portland Trail Blazers team and say, hey, Joe Cronin's just trying to do what he needs to do to save his job, to save face, and to get the best package for the Portland Trail Blazers. But the fact of the matter is, you gave CJ McCollum what he wanted. You've given players in the past what they want in Portland. But the guy who's the greatest Portland Trail Blazers player in franchise history comes to you and tells you, I did everything you guys asked me for 12 years. I signed contracts. I stayed with this organization. You guys have lied to me. You guys have not built a contender around. It is time to go. I'm 33 years old. I want to win a championship before my prime runs out. And instead of giving the man what he wanted, Joe Cronin lies, holds off. He doesn't value the market for Dame Lillard. He waits. He waits and just sees if another team comes up and makes an offer. No one does. The Miami Heat made an offer. He doesn't like it. He wants to wait for another team. No offers made. So here we are, you guys. Here we are. The Portland Trail Blazers are 2 weeks away from training camp, and they have not gone anywhere further than trading for Damian Lillard. So that is why you see Woj on ESPN saying that the Blazers are now in talks for trading for Damian Lillard. Because now they just want to see if another team just comes up out of nowhere to make an offer. But it's not going to happen, you guys. It is not going to happen. Because let's just throw a team name out there just for shits and giggles. Let's say the Orlando Magic calls Portland at the 11th hour and says, we want to make a trade for Damian Lillard. Orlando's going to call Damian Lillard's representative, Aaron Goodwin, and ask him, before we make this trade, how does your player feel? Immediately, Dame Lillard's camp is going to say he doesn't want to play there. If he gets traded to Orlando, he's going to request another trade. Do you think any of these other teams are going to give up young assets, first-round future draft picks, pick swaps, expiring contracts for a player who's going to get traded there, possibly not report to training camp, or report and be a stink about it, and then in a couple months later, he's going to request another trade during the season? You don't want that if you're a team. So that's why Portland has no other choice except for 2 things. You either keep Damian Lillard and ride this shit show into training camp, or you give the man what he wants. Respect his decision and trade him. It's been 2.5 months since this trade request was put out, ladies and gentlemen, Damian Lillard has been a man about this. He's not gone on like James Harden and talk crap about Joe Cronin, calling him a liar. He hasn't used these words. It is coming out now, but because you're seeing this, you're seeing these things come into play. This is not a Miami Heat report, you guys. This comes straight from Eric Brent in the Blazers Uprise. This is a direct Portland Trail Blazers podcast with guys that have direct ties with the team. They on this show, Eric Brent specifically calling Joe Cronin a liar and a backstabber. When you have the Portland Trail Blazers side feeling this way about the GM, you guys, 9 times out of 10 is telling me this story is the truth. Now, I understand Blazers fans are going through the 5 stages of grief. I understand that. I understand that at first you have your 5 stages. I'm not going to go over them and bore you guys, but you have your 5 stages of grief. You're coming to the acceptance stage. I understand anger, sadness, frustration. I get all that, but now you have to come to the final stage, acceptance. Accept the fact that you had this man for 12 years. Accept the man that you had great times with this player. But now it's time for the divorce. I've said it before, you guys, and I'll say it again. This is a bad marriage. Excuse me, this is a marriage coming to a bad divorce. And with bad divorces, it takes time. So unfortunately, for Portland fans, this is the scenario that you're at. No other teams have come up. Miami's going to be the only offer. So we have 2 different packages I feel like that can happen. You have a package that's going to be beneficial for Miami, but then you have another package that's going to be beneficial for Portland. The package that'll be beneficial for Miami is, we've talked about it. Send Tyler Hero. No, don't send Tyler Hero to a third team. We keep Tyler Hero. We come up with a package of like Duncan Robinson, Kyle Lowry, maybe Jovic or Jaquez with 2 to 3 first-round draft picks. That's best case scenario for Miami, that they get to keep Tyler Hero. That's not going to happen, in my opinion. I would love that to happen. I've seen Heat fans talk to me and say, the fact that you're not talking about that Tyler Hero can stay with the Damian Lillard trade. It can happen, you guys. If Portland really gets backed into a wall and Damian Lillard says, you either trade me or this is going to get even more nasty, and Portland has to accept a Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Nikola Jovic, and future first-round picks, that's the best scenario for Miami because we get to keep Caleb Martin and Tyler Hero. But I think that's not likely. Both teams need to come up with something. What do we know that Blazers want? We know that Blazers want draft picks, young assets, and expiring contracts, which we have all 3. We can help them with that, you guys. So that is definitely something that Miami can do. You take Tyler Hero's contract, send it to a third team like Brooklyn, for example. You send Kyle Lowry, Nikola Jovic, future first-round draft picks to Portland, and Brooklyn in return will send Portland 1 to 2 more future first-round draft picks. So that way, Portland can come out with anywhere from 4 to 5 future draft picks with pick swaps. A beautiful young asset like Nikola Jovic, which we know Portland is lacking in size. So they can definitely use Jovic. He's been a breakout in the FIBA World Championship. He can definitely play great with Portland's young squad. You send Kyle Lowry there to help out with the numbers and to mold and help Scoot Henderson. Blazers can even waive Kyle Lowry or buy him out so he gets off of their books this year. That right there, in my opinion, is going to be the trade that happens. It's going to be a multi-team trade. We see Adrian Wojnarowski talking about that. I believe that's what's going to happen. If you're hearing Woj talk about the fact that this is going to be a 3-team trade, you guys, that's because that's what's most likely going to happen. Because if it's coming from Woj, it's coming from the team. So I want to know from you guys. Let me know what you think about this possible trade scenario. Do you think that the trade will happen before training camp or after training camp? What do you guys feel about the podcast for Blazers Uprise, talking about the fact that Joe Cronin's a liar and a backstabber? Let me know your thoughts on that. Blazers fans, tell me what you think. Do you guys watch Blazers Uprise? Do you think this is actually a merit, or do you feel a different way? I seriously want to know your thoughts. Let's not argue about this, you guys. We all, Heat fans and Blazers fans, I think we're all in the same scenario. We just want this shit to get over with already so we can move on with our lives. Blazers fans, I'm sure that you love and respect Damian Lillard, and you can appreciate the fact that you want what's best for him. I'm sure if Blazers fans see Damian Lillard traded to the Heat and he wins a championship, they'll be happy for him. But in return, I know that Blazers fans don't want to give up Damian Lillard for a garbage package. So that's why I think the 3-team trade is the best scenario. It works for everyone. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please, you guys, take a moment, smash the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Help your boy out. We're almost at that 2K subscribers mark, but I need you guys to get there. And until next time, it's your boy Ernest out, and that's enough said. Let's go Heat!